Today, on Be Something Wonderful, this is the story of you owning your inner authority. I am your host, Tom Karen, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from one of you that said, Tom, I'm new to your channel, and your message resonates with me. I've felt powerless, and it just feels like my life is falling apart. My 15-year marriage ended. My kids won't talk to me, and my career just feels stalled, and I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. I just really feel powerless. But this message, it gives me hope, and I was just wondering if you could. Where do I go from here? Where do I go from feeling totally powerless? Well, guys, we're going to unpack this today and more. Today is a perfect day to talk about that because today we're celebrating Easter, right? We're not celebrating, as A Course in Miracles says, we're not celebrating pain, but we're celebrating peace. We're celebrating love. That's your story. The Easter story is your story. It's the story of you owning your power. It's the story of you realizing your inner authority to be, do, or have whatever your heart's desires. It's the story of you knowing that no matter what the 3D world is showing you at the moment, that you have the power within you to change it all. Do you hear this? That's what the story of Jesus is not a story of dying. It's the story of living. Right? I've come so you can live and have a life more abundant. Right? This is what Jesus was talking about. When Jesus was in front of Pontius Pilate and Pilate was asking him questions, Jesus wasn't answering. And Pilate said to Jesus, "What? You don't speak to me? Don't you know I have the power to crucify you or set you free?" Now, keep in mind, Pilate represents the 3D world. It represents your fears, your doubts, your lower state of mind. It represents that powerless state, right? And then what does Jesus say? You have no authority over me unless it was given from above. That's your inner authority. Jesus represents that I amness in you. That power, I am that I am, that's your imagination. That's your power to change everything. That's powerful, right? And then Jesus says, a thief doesn't come except to steal, to kill, and destroy, right? But I've come that I amness, you rising in your I amness, rising in that your imagination. I've come that you can live and live more abundantly. That's the story, right? Unless you're born from above, you die in your sins. What does that mean? Sin is missing your mark, meaning not identifying with your ideal state. It's about detaching from what you don't want and then identifying what you do desire and then occupying that state within your imagination. That's the message of Easter, right? There's a lot of messages of Easter, but that's the big one. Right? That's the big one. Let's unpack this today like we've never unpacked it before. So here's what A Course in Miracles says, and I love this. Easter's not a celebration of the cost of sin, but of its end. Hear this. This is A Course in Miracles. Right? Because we look at, sometimes when people look at Easter, they look at it, it's about some outside power sacrificing itself for you not identifying with your own power. Hear that, and then rising that power to identify with what you want. Right? Wow, that's big, right? The cost of sin, it's about the end of sin because there is no sin because there's continual forgiveness. Remember 70 times 7 that we talked about, right? It's you identifying with what you want and then lining up with it, corresponding with it, aligning with that I amness within, that Christ within you, aligning with that power within you. That's the message. It's the celebration of his release. Whose release? That 3D you that feels powerless. That 3D you that feels that you don't have the authority, the inner authority to be, do, or have whatever your heart desires, to create the life of your dreams. That's big. And this is what A Course in Miracles further says. A slain Christ has no meaning. So powerful. A slain Christ has no meaning, but a risen Christ becomes the symbol of the Son of God's forgiveness on himself, the sign that he looks upon himself as healed and whole. Wow! That's you looking at you through your imagination, identifying with your highest ideal, with what you want your life next, what you want to be, do, or have. That's the story. You are the Son of God. It's that forgiveness of yourself as you rise in that state. Remember, you play all the parts, right? And then Course in Miracles says there is no fear in love. That's the answer to fear, right? It's love. It's always the answer. It can't exist. It cannot stand in the light of love, right? Your I amness, your imagination to be, do, or have, whatever your heart's desires, is your Savior. It's your redemptive power. So you can look at the Easter story in any way you want, but that's a nice way to look at it, that through your imagination, through your own inner authority, through that divinity within you, you can call it the universe, you can call it God, you can call it infinite intelligence, you can call it the quantum field. It's you, it's all you, it's within you. That's big. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So, this is what Paul says in Scripture. I die daily. 3 words that explain this redemptive power of imagination that Neville Goddard calls it. Right? The power to imagine your wish fulfilled, and then persist in it until it's reflected in the 3D world. That's how you create your own reality. That you're dying to your old reality. You're dying to your unwanted state. You're dying to the conversation that disturbed you earlier in the day. You're dying to the bad news you just received. You're dying to those things that cause you anguish, that cause you frustration, that cause you doubt and cause you fear, right? If anyone wishes, and this is where this really ties into Luke 9:23. If anyone, this is what Jesus said, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Hear this. What Jesus is talking about, the cross, right? The Romans, the cross in the Roman Empire represented death. That's why Jesus is pointing to that, but not the physical death. It's the death of the limited 3D you. It's the death of that powerless person that looks around that their marriage has ended, that their job's not going well, that the kids are not talking to them, and seeing the light, seeing that you can die to that state and rise into what you can take up your cross, right? The death of that limited you, the death of that fearful you, right? And then something must die before you can live, right? Your undesired state or unwanted reality, that lower version of yourself, that powerless version of yourself, those limiting assumptions and beliefs that you believe that somehow you cannot create your ideal life, that you can't be, do, or have whatever you want. That's what's dying. And then you're going to rise or be resurrected into that power of what you want, whatever you imagine you want. Your wish fulfilled, right? He must deny himself. This is what Jesus said, deny himself. That's not about giving up worldly things, giving up your car and your money and your stocks and your houses. It has nothing to do with that. It means denying those old limited concepts of yourself, denying that you're powerless, denying that you can't change your life right now in this now moment, right? And embody your desired version of yourself or your wish fulfilled. That's what we're talking about today. So Easter and this is what Neville says, Easter is a daily opportunity to simply die that you may live. That's why, this is Paul, I die daily, right? It's a continual death and resurrection into your wanted state or what you want to desire. I don't care what you want. If it's a new job, love in your life, a specific person, a bag of money, wealth, abundance, it's all yours because it's already within you, right? And then Passover means, this is what Neville talks about when he talks about Easter. Passover meaning moving or passing over to your desired state from your present unwanted reality. You're passing over continually to your desired reality. You're continually identifying with your highest ideals. You're continually identifying with what you want or desire, right? Without the doubt and the fear and the want and the craving of it, because you know it's within you. You know it's yours when you desire it, when you rise to it, right? Rising to your higher desired state of consciousness. That's what it's about. This is and then Neville Goddard talks about when Jesus is on trial, right? This is the greatest trial that ever took place in eternity. That's what Neville calls it. Why? Because because you're making a choice. You're making a choice either to remain in that powerless state, and that thinking that the 3D that surrounds you, right, the 3D world, the unwanted state, or to release that state and rise to your wish fulfilled, to your desired reality of having love, of having a great relationship with your kids, of having a great flourishing career or job or whatever your heart desires is, right? So Jesus came to reveal God, this is, again, as the I am within you. What's the I am? Just say I am, that's you. But it's the personalized, it's the individualized you. The individualized you as God, right? It's that individualized power within you, that unconditioned awareness, right? I am that I am. That's what Jesus said to Moses. I am that I am, meaning that's the unconditioned awareness. That's God, that source, saying to you, or to yourself, because you are part of that. You're now conditioning yourself as an individualized consciousness awareness as part of the I amness of God. I am that I am. Wow, that's powerful. Let's break it down a little bit more. It was a custom. So when Neville talks about the Easter story, it was a custom to release a prisoner during Passover. This is what Pilate says to the people. The people are gathered around. Who do the people represent? All the doubts and fears and negativity and you doubting yourself, it's frustration, it's irritation. It represents all of that of the 3D world, right? So Jesus says to Pilate, I have come into this world to testify to the truth, that the power to change your life within you, that I amness. I am, that imagination, your imagination is within you. Jesus represents your imagination, your divine imagination, your human imagination. It's all within you, right? It's about you, that I am. It's identifying with your highest ideal, your wish fulfilled, through your I am awareness, your imagination. What do you want? What do you desire in your life? It's you identifying with that power. Then what does Pilate say to Jesus? Remember, Pilate represents the 3D world, the lower consciousness, right? And then Pilate says to Jesus, what is truth? It's like your 3D you that feels powerless. I don't know the truth. What is the truth? Jesus doesn't answer. Why? Because Jesus is you in that higher state. You no longer have to, it's so self-evident, the truth is so self-evident that the power is within you, you don't even have to answer. You no longer look around you and see limitation. You no longer look around you and see that fear, see that lack. See those things that you don't want. You're looking at what you do want. You're looking at what you do desire, right? You're looking at that highest concept of yourself. And then Pilate says, well, I find no guilt in him. Of course not. How could you? But still, Pilate put him, offered Jesus up, right? Remember, yet the 3D personality still can't see the truth while immersed in the 3D unwanted reality. Even though Pilate says, I find no guilt in him, remember, Pilate represents your 3D personality, the ego. He still couldn't see the truth while immersed in the unwanted reality. You can't see the truth while you're immersed in looking around at the things you don't want in your life. Do you hear this, right? And then Pilate says to the crowd, because of this custom to release a prisoner, he has Jesus, the King of Kings, right? The King of Jews, right? Jesus of Nazareth. And he says to him, do you wish that I release for you the King of the Jews? Or Barabbas? Barabbas is the thief and robber, right? So Pilate's offering up Jesus, the King of the Jews, or Barabbas, the thief and the robber. Should you release your I amness, right? Or the thief and the robber, or your thoughts and your doubts and your lower state of consciousness, your powerlessness. What do you want to release? That's the decision you make every day of your life, in every moment. Paul says, I die daily. Your decision is simply between Barabbas, the thief and the robber, or Jesus, your I amness, your imagination, your wish fulfilled. Do you want to release your wish fulfilled, or do you want to release the thief and robber that's robbing you, stealing from you your highest desires, stealing from you the life that you want? You hear this, right? So they cried out again. This is the crowd. When Pilate offered up Jesus or Barabbas, they cried out saying, not this man, but Barabbas. Release Barabbas. What does that mean? Now, and it says in the Bible, right here in John 18:40, now Barabbas was a robber. Read that for a second. It's a funny statement. Now Barabbas was a robber. What does that mean? It's so powerful. Those 5 words are powerful. A robber of what? A robber of your higher state of consciousness. A robber of your desires, of your wishes, of your dreams and your wishes in your life. That doubt, that fear, that 3D you that feels powerless is a robber of everything you want, right? Unless you release it. Right? So the thief and the robber are those thoughts and concepts of yourself that rob you of what you desire to have or be in this world. The crowd equals the 3D world around you, cheering to release Barabbas, meaning the 3D world. So the 3D world dwells, right? We dwell among the thief and robbers. We dwell among those negative thoughts. Look around, the media, everywhere you see it, it's negative, it's what's going wrong. Right? We dwell among the fear and the doubt as opposed to stepping into our power as God-given creators of our own reality. That's big. So, of course, the crowd, the 3D world, says release Barabbas. They want Barabbas. They want the doubt, the fear. They want to dwell in that. They want to rejoice in the doubts and fears, right? And then, so they release Barabbas. But what does that really mean to you? It means you release your doubts and fears that hire you, and then you crucify yourself, or you fix yourself to your desired state of consciousness. That's what it means when Jesus is fixed to the cross. It's attaching yourself to that higher state of consciousness, right? And detaching yourself from that unwanted state, right? So, and you detach yourself from your unwanted reality, and then you resurrect in your desired state. You resurrect in your wish fulfilled. You resurrect in the life that you want, right? The love that you want in your life, the relationship you want with your kids, right? And the perfect job and the perfect opportunities. That's how it is. That's the message here. The drama of Passover and Easter unfolds within you daily. All of that is within you daily. Every time you're walking in 3D reality, it's always a choice between releasing Barabbas or releasing Jesus, the higher, the I amness, releasing your wish fulfilled, or holding on to your thoughts, doubts, and fears, right? You are constantly making the choice of releasing Barabbas, your limiting beliefs, assumptions, and concepts of yourself, or Jesus, your higher ideal, your identification of your wish fulfilled. What's it going to be? What's your choice? If there's only one choice here, guys, right? Release Barabbas. If you release Jesus, you remain in your unwanted reality and don't exercise your power of your imagination. In other words, if you release Jesus, you release your wish fulfilled. You don't detach from your unwanted state. You hold on to it, right? You don't rise. You don't fix yourself to your new state or higher state of consciousness. You don't rise in consciousness to everything you want. You don't resurrect to that higher ideal, right? You're holding on to the thief and robber of limiting thoughts and beliefs when you release Jesus and you don't release Barabbas. If you are wanting something or a desire to be in a new reality, but you're not occupying it in your imagination, you're not assuming it's already yours, you're walking with Barabbas. Do you hear this? You're like the 3D world. When Barabbas was released to the crowd, that's you in the crowd walking with the thief and robber. If you don't identify with that Christ within you, with that I amness, with that power within you, Jesus is your inner authority. It's your inner authority to be, do, or have whatever your heart desires. That's what we're talking about here. So And this is what Neville says, right? For to desire is to confess that you do not now possess what you desire. And because all things are yours, you rob yourself by living in the state of desire. So to live in a state of desire without moving to that desire, without occupying that wish fulfilled, you rob yourself. You're walking with Barabbas, right? And this is what else Neville says. I cannot have and still continue to desire what I have. I may enjoy it, but I can't continue wanting it. You can't continue wanting what you already have. You can enjoy it, that new resurrected state of consciousness, right? This really is, guys, the story of rising to your inner power, or rising to that authority within you. This is your story, right? The only choice is, do you occupy that state of wish fulfilled, or do you hold on to that doubt or fear? Is it Barabbas or is it Jesus? Is it Barabbas? Is it your imagination, right? What is it going to be? Is it the thief and robber, or is it the life that you want and you desire? I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. You can follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, and on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron. You can always visit our website at tomcaron.com or besomethingwonderful.com. Don't forget, as I mentioned yesterday, because of the volume now, I'm not specifically responding to emails at info@besomethingwonderful.com or commenting on the channel, because I feel if I make I want to welcome all the subscribers, and I want to say I love you all, and the ones that have been with me since the beginning and the ones that have just joined along. I love you all, and I'm happy you're here. And so I'm welcoming you now. And I do read all the comments, and I do read all the emails. And I will get them, I will work them into the videos. With great love, with great light, and just really infinite gratitude. Happy Easter. Until next time. See you soon.